there, I'm Dean Heskin. Thanks for tuning into our podcast, The Secret War on Cash. I'm President and CEO of Swiss America, who's bringing this podcast. I have with me my co-host, Chris Agelastos. Chris, good morning. How are you today?
Good morning. Doing well.
Doing well. I'm sure you're very busy. Let's get right after it. Gold is still on a tear. It has been running and running and running and not even close to running out of breath yet at this point, it would seem. The bad part, however, let's look at this first article here. The US dollar collapse. US dollar crashes 10% year to date. Gold prices reach near $3,400. And for those of you tuning in, if you haven't been following gold prices or some of the projections or predictions that were being made at the end of the year, beginning of this year, many people were talking gold prices hitting maybe $3,100 an ounce by year's end. Now, as we're looking at $3,400 plus gold, some of those forecasts and projections have been certainly increased over 3,100 due to just what's taking place. But now you're talking 3,500 to even $4,000 being within reach. So the dollar's crashing. Tell us a little bit more about that, Chris, and why is that? Why is it that this is having the impact or effect it is on gold prices?
Yeah, well, the big thing with the dollar is just the lack of investor confidence in it right now. People are concerned with all the tariff talk, the trade wars. Obviously, we've talked about BRICS and other nations pushing back and wanting to leave the dollar. So, the dollar has it's had a really good reign for a long time, but we've been dealing with an uphill battle for quite a while now, and to be honest, we're kind of lucky it's held out as well as it has to this point. But yeah, dropping about 10% year to date in the US dollar index, while gold is up right around 30%. I mean, while we're filming this, it's probably over 30% now. That's how fast it's been moving this year. And people typically flock to gold. I mean, there's a lot of reasons to own it. Obviously, just the safety and the security of having something tangible, that you can hold in your hands, that isn't just numbers on a statement. But aside from that, people really want to run to gold when they have concerns about the economy, about the dollar, about the stock market, interest rates. And right now, it just seems like the U.S. dollar and the economy is dealing with all of these problems at the same time. I've said the perfect storm before, and that's really what this is. I'm having a hard time right now, even wondering what's next. Like, what are we going to have to deal with next in our economy, because we are fighting on so many different fronts at the moment.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because let's lead that right into our next article here. As we talk about the dollar and whatnot, gold surges to a record above 3,400. We just mentioned that, as Trump threatens Fed independence. Now,
hmm
Fed independence, he has been very vocal, President Trump has, about his, I would say at this point, disdain for Fed Chair Jerome Powell. Called him a major
yeah.
loser. Um, he has, I mean, he really has not held back whatsoever in terms of his feelings there. So
No.
he, in fact, in this article, he talks about how they can't terminate Powell quickly enough. And but tell us a little more about what we know that's what he wants to do in terms of Powell. What does Fed
Yeah.
independence mean? What does that look like?
So historically, the president hasn't been able to fire a chair of the Federal Reserve in the past, and Trump is, as you said, actively kind of campaigning against Jerome Powell. And I think he knows that if he puts enough political pressure on him and the Federal Reserve in general, that they may take action into their own hands and replace him. Or maybe just go along with what President Trump wants and lower interest rates, which is what he's been pushing for. But Jerome Powell has been saying that because of all of Trump's tariff talks and this sort of the battle we've been seeing over the last month with tariffs, that he expects inflation to rise. And so, what happens when inflation rises is the Federal Reserve typically raises interest rates or keeps them high. And so, in a sense, Jerome Powell is blaming President Trump and saying, well, had you not messed with the tariffs, we probably could have lowered interest rates by now. But now we anticipate inflation, so we're not going to. And so who's really right in that equation? I'm not certain. But I mean, Trump has outright said that he's looking into ways to maybe get rid of Powell. So whether that means again him finding a way to actually fire him or just apply enough pressure and negative sentiment that the Federal Reserve sort of falls in line on their own, that's what kind of remains to be seen. But in the meantime, gold prices just keep going up. I mean, in these articles, we're talking
Skyrocketing.
about $3,400 gold, and quite honestly, we could see 3,500 today, and these predictions of 4,000 within a year. I mean, the way things are going right now, if the next 6 months look like the last 6 months, we're going to blow through 4,000 an ounce. So there's definitely a lot going on, not just in our business, but in the entire economy. And I certainly would recommend that if you haven't, the people listening to this or watching, if you haven't delved into the world of gold and silver and diversified yourself yet, don't keep putting it off. Reach
Well,
out to us. We can help explain it and walk you through it so you're not just jumping into something new.
and tell people how to do that, Chris.
Yeah, so visit the website, swissamerica.com, or you can also give us a call at 800-289-2646. You can also text that number, call 24 hours a day, leave us a message if it's after hours, and we'll reach out to you ASAP. But just let us know you want to learn more. We'll put together a nice packet of materials. We have information we can email to you as well if you're in a bit more of a hurry. And then we'll schedule an appointment with some of our staff here to kind of walk you through the basics and help you walk before you run.
Very good. That's outstanding. And kind of to end on this, we've been doing this podcast a little over a year and a half now, and gold was less than $2,000 an ounce, if I remember correctly, when we started. The forecasts that were coming out then, $2,000 an ounce gold seemed aggressive, and then 2,300 seemed aggressive, and now here we sit at 3,400. But if you remember back to one of our earlier podcasts, maybe roughly a year or so ago, there was one article in particular. They were talking about how gold prices could reach as much as 40 to $50,000 an ounce. And if you remember, they said that because they were valuing it based on if the price of gold absorbed the amount of debt that our country has, if there was like a reboot of some kind.
Yep.
And people think, okay, that's so they can't fathom that. That's so unbelievable. But when you really look at things, when you look at like cryptos and Bitcoin, that was $100,000, and some of the other investments out there, also those prices do not seem too overly aggressive. They seem
Right.
not only believable but attainable, and especially with these moves now, because as we've talked about before, gold going from, let's just call it for easy math, $3,400 right now, it to go up 100%, you're talking about gold going to $6,800. Whereas,
Yeah.
when we were at $2,000 an ounce gold, a 100% increase, only 4,000. So those percentages
That's right.
are only going to equate to larger dollar amounts in terms of increase in value over time as this continues. And if it continues, but it doesn't look like the dollar's getting better anytime soon, and it doesn't look like the fire that's burning it is getting any less severe. So, well, thank you for all that. And for those of you tuning in, thanks for tuning in as well. If you're not subscribed to our podcast, please do so. And also, please follow us on social media. We'd love to hear from you. As Chris mentioned, if you'd like some more information on gold, give us a call or visit us online. Thanks so much, and we'll see you real soon. Have a great rest of your day.